Hey everybody, how's it going? This is the Kaulig Nation podcast, and we are here to react to the news of the day. Joining me today, as always, is my co-host. Nope, that noise is quite intentional. It's horror noise, Ryan. Horror, ominous noise. Fitting of the mood currently. But joining me as always, it's Ryan. How are you today, man? Weekend ahead, and it's Bristol. That's positive, right?
Hey, it is Bristol, and I love the Bristol night race weekend. It's one of my favorite weekends of the year. And obviously, we were very excited about the upcoming, well, no longer upcoming, the current Kaulig announcements. I was so excited I couldn't sleep last night. I was going through every Twitter or X. I went through everything I could find on web pages. I was going through, I was reading thread after thread trying to figure out who our cup driver is going to be. As I said, I was up to about 3 in the morning just having a hard time putting my brain to sleep trying to figure this out. And we got Daniel Hemric. So, yeah, that's disappointing. Definitely disappointing that after months and months of buildup and I know you're going to really touch on this more yourself, but the expectations of who was going to be driving this 31 car was so high. It had us spinning our wheels for months. And then here's Daniel Hemric. And I love Daniel Hemric. Seems like a great guy. Talented enough race car driver. But wow, what a letdown. What a letdown. Just not what I was expecting, not what I was hoping. So, yeah, my day could have isn't as good as it was 30 minutes ago.
Ryan and I are actually doing a fun little F1 series season, pardon me, on Xbox, and he won that race, so he's got that going for him. That's for sure. Hang on, this is fitting as a background. Figure I'll use this today. Ryan knows what I'm about to put up. I thought that Ryan, look, let me preface this by saying this right off the bat. I'm going to give it back to Ryan, too, because once I get going, I might be going for a bit here. I want to preface this by saying what drew me, and I think it's important to start here, to Kaulig Racing was AJ Allmendinger. I'm just being honest. It was. I'm an Allmendinger guy. He's an Allmendinger guy. I can't say that that's what drew him to the team. I don't know. It's not a conversation we really had. But once AJ was on that team, even part-time for those, I think it was part-time for 2 years, you started to understand how the team operates, the mindset they have, the positivity of Chris Rice. I frankly, I think everybody needs to put a smile on their face every day they can because life is too short. But there's another side to that as well. Obviously, you thought it was disappointing for Hemric. Actually, do you want me to just go and you can just jump in? Because I know I'm going to be a little more hot than you, but I know deep down you're hot too.
Tell you what, let me listen. Let me say some things before you go on, because I know you're gonna say your piece, and I support your thoughts. So, but I'm taking a different approach, right? I am a Kaulig Racing fan, and yes, AJ Allmendinger was what drove me to the team 5 years ago now. But what Kaulig, the organization, has fostered for these last 5 years has been something that has created a high level of excitement for me, and definitely for a large fan base, that we've kind of grown with over the last few years on all over the social media. That, hey, we're here to win trophies, we're here to have a good time, we're going to, checkers or wreckers mentality, right? That's what's been building, and that's what success they had, especially in, starting in 2019. With Ross Chastain and getting AJ involved, and then all the way through the pandemic. right? That they were chasing trophies. They didn't care what the cost was. They didn't care what it was going, who they had to drive through to get there. They were going to have fun doing it. They were going to work together as an organization, which they still do. I mean, as one thing, Kaulig does very well. Their teams work well together. They always have. But it grew me as a fan of the organization, and long after AJ's gone, which truthfully is not too far in the future at this point, I will be supporting Kaulig Racing. I will support Chandler Smith. I will support Daniel Hemric. I will support whoever they bring in to drive these cars, because I believe in the message. I believe in what Kaulig Racing, what Matt Kaulig, Chris Rice have built. That being said, today's press conference felt like a funeral. It really did. When they came on, they just sat down. There were no sponsor banners. It was just the generic Food City 300, which is the Xfinity race tonight. Daniel shows up in his fire suit. Oh, great. He's showing off Circle. And then Chris Rice just starts talking. And it was awkward. It was uncomfortable to see that they themselves, I don't think, were really excited about the announcements. They came in, they said, well, here's Daniel. He's the guy. When we sat down, we started talking back at Daytona about trying to fill a seat, and Daniel is the guy. And actually, I want to find our chat, because I want to say there's a comment that really stuck out to me. Let me see where it is. Oh yeah, what they came out and said, Daniel, he has the heart. He's very caring, right? And true, Daniel Hemric's a great guy. But they didn't mention talent. They didn't say, we're bringing in this talented guy to win the race, like to get trophies. And to me, it was just, it definitely felt like they got caught flat-footed, whether it was an Austin Hill situation that backed out on them, or if there was other things happening behind the scenes that fell through. It just feels like Daniel Hemric was kind of a last resort, and they needed to fill the seat, and Circle had funding. But they didn't even really announce that Circle is the primary sponsor. It was kind of just like a given that Circle was going to be the sponsor for the team next year. And I'm assuming they're stepping up, and they're probably going to cover 10 races, 12 races, just a speculation. They didn't say. They didn't tell us. When you're coming in, and like one of the main reasons Justin Haley was let go was because he wasn't able to, bring funding and support to the 31 car. That was a main driving factor in getting a new driver. You have a sponsor in Circle, who I really appreciate and what they're doing with Kaulig Racing, but then they don't even get their due justice in this press conference. It was just there. It wasn't something they even talked about. So it felt like it was awkward. It felt uncomfortable. They tried to play it off with a couple jokes. And Daniel Hemric, just to touch on Daniel Hemric, as a racing driver, he is quite good. He is somebody that is going to be consistent. He's going to keep all four fenders on the car. He's going to probably run, depending on how good the Kaulig cars next year are, 15th to 20th on a regular basis. Maybe a little bit lower if the cars are a little bit behind. But he was such a safe hire. He was the most predictable hire in a situation where Chris Rice said it was going to be a shock, a surprise, new partners, all these things that were built up. And then at the end of the day, Daniel Hemric was who they brought in. And to me, that's just the biggest letdown. Not that it's Daniel Hemric. I think Daniel Hemric paired with AJ on a competition standpoint is probably going to produce similar results to where they are this year. But it's how the message was brought across that really, really frustrates me. And I don't know how to take Chris Rice, as seriously as I once did, because he really has built this up and really set us down. And I'm struggling with that. I do support the team. I will continue to support the team. I think they still can get better. I still think they can run for wins, especially at the tracks we know they're good at. But this was not the announcement I was expecting and hoping for today, for sure.
Am I good?
All yours, man. Take it away.
All right. Okay, so let me preface this by saying, and I hope everybody remembers this part right here before I vent. I hope everybody remembers this part. I am open to the idea of eating a shit ton of crow if there's more to come on top of this. Like if the 16 and the 13 still become full-time rides and they're just not announcing it today because something's not finalized. I don't believe that's the case at all. If anything, if you're a Kaulig fan, you're fearing Ty Dillon right now, considering, the stuff that was out there was Hemric and Dillon. I'm ready to eat crow and be wrong about everything I'm about to say. Do I think I am? No, not at all. Let me put it this way to people. When you hype something, and I am qualified to talk about how PR works, not only am I engaged to someone who went to school for it, I literally covered the making of the entire Halloween trilogy on a level that, frankly, nobody else did on all of YouTube. That's just the way it came out. I know this is racing, but PR is still a thing, and managing your PR is important, which this team has not fucking done at all. Like, at all. Keep in mind, and I think you're a football guy, Ryan. Aaron Rodgers gets hurt this week, right? And like, I'm not a Jets fan. I'm not even a big football fan. I got my allegiances, but I'm just like, at first it was like, that's kind of funny. And then you think about it, it's like, no. Do you know how many people out there, and this is where I think PR is important. Do you know how many people out there who aren't as blessed as Ryan and don't have a partner that they're building a life with, or as blessed with me and I have kids, and where like the one thing they're holding on to might be their sports, or they're not the NASCAR isn't a sport, but they're auto racing, or their fandom of something. Some people, Ryan just said, Ryan is someone who does have all that other stuff going on and still lost sleep last night over this announcement. I probably did too, if I'm being honest. We were messaging each other at like 3:00 in the morning. And one of the things that's going to come from this is the fans overhyped it. The fans read too much into it. And my response to that's going to be, no, they fucking didn't. They didn't. You can't go on, not a press tour, but you can't go to the media and say, these are exact quotes, it's going to surprise a lot of people. It's going to surprise the world. It's going to surprise everyone. It's going to shock the world. We can't make the announcement until all the partners are ready to make the announcement. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I didn't see a fucking partner announcement there other than the fire suit that Hemric was wearing. And I assume that Ryan is right in terms of Circle stepping up. But that press conference came across like fucking amateur hour, and I only got to see half of it. Half of it. It's disgraceful what's going on there right now. And I'm not someone who will stay committed to a team just because I was a fan of them once. I'm a Leaf fan. I've been through fucking 3 decades of suffering, half of it because of this guy's favorite team over there. It was definitely misleading to everybody out there. You can't go and hold multiple press scrums. You can't go on Sirius. You can't go on DBC. You can't go on various other places. You can't go to Front Stretch and say the things you did and then deliver the most fucking ordinary, predictable announcement possible. Promoting from within is literally the most common thing that happens in auto racing. That's a fact. And to Daniel Hemric, I've never had a problem with him as a dude. I've never seen one thing that he's done that presents himself in like a, hey, well, that guy's a piece of shit. I don't want him representing my team. I'm not saying that at all. But I am saying people are nuts if they think that he's going to perform on AJ's level. AJ has the advantage of, and AJ still might be there next year. Frankly, at this point, I'd be saying, hey, write whatever number you want on the check. We need something here. Hemric is not a specialist at anything. He's won 1 race ever, period. He's average, a little better than average. Ryan's right. He'll probably be running around 20th. But let me ask you, do you want Justin Haley on the upswing in his, what is he, 23 or 24, Justin?
Yeah, I think he's
Ryan?
23. Yeah, 20. Pretty sure he's 23. Maybe
Or do
just
you
turned.
want
He's young.
Hemric,
Yeah.
who Hemric, I'm assuming, is early to mid 30s? And really, like, unless Circle has signed one hell of a check, it's like, did we really do this? Like, come on here. And the most notable quote that came from that press conference that honestly really pissed me off was sometimes it doesn't matter how you run on the track. It matters how much you care. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? It doesn't matter how you run on the track. It matters how much you care. Like, I'm sorry, but this is fucking pretender hour. That whole press conference was pretender hour. I hope I eat crow, and I hope I'm on here a month from now or 2 months from now after Kaulig Fan Day going, okay, things are a lot brighter now because they have such and such locked up on multi-year terms and could eventually be elevated to Cup. But honestly, I don't know how anybody leaves today thinking that Kaulig is in a better place than they were anywhere in the last year. And it's disappointing because really the team, I don't even want to say the team because it's not like we've seen a bunch of stuff from their Twitter account. Chris Rice, to be specific, misled a lot of people on this, or so it seems anyways. Maybe it'll be corrected down the line. But even really, you can't say even that because he said the 31 car. He said the 31 car on multiple interviews. He said it's going to shock the world what we do with that car, specifically the 31 car. So it's like, I'd love to sit here and hold out hope that something else major is coming, but all I see is fucking bullshit, if I'm being honest. Sorry, Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I give up being a fan of the team, but I'm definitely going to need some time. I like Chandler Smith. I think he's a great talent. I think that organization is super lucky to have him. And frankly, that organization has failed all the drivers across the board in both levels this year in terms of not being able to provide quality equipment. And at least at the end of the press conference, Chris Rice took responsibility for that. Like, hey, we've had a bunch of failures lately and we're trying to learn from it. That's great. But clearly this team is not going to be taking the step that a lot of people rumored it. Honestly, the couch racer stuff too. Let me just touch on that. Brett Griffin is involved in that. And that's 2 years in a row he's added to completely misleading the fan base. So it's hard I know he's not full-time there anymore, but I'm in a foul mood because honestly, there's people that aren't me and you who are more passionate. I can think of one Twitter account specifically about this race team because maybe that's all they have. And to be fed a bunch of BS, like any way you want to put it, you can't deny the fact that a bunch of stuff that they said would be happening, multiple partners, by the way, if you go back and listen.
I remember that one. That was a thing, absolutely.
None of it has happened. And Ryan could be right. It could have been Austin Hill fell through. That's on you. That's on you. Keep your fucking mouth shut till something's done. I hope I'm wrong about this, but honestly, I don't think I've ever felt more deflating as a race fan. This is probably my most deflating day as a race fan, is in terms of liking a team, since we found out RPM's checks weren't clearing for the 4 cars they were putting on the track.
That's a callback because that was a crippling day as a fan because as we've both said we're AJ fans and I remember those haulers staying. I don't remember what track they were at, but they were staying at the previous race because they didn't have the check or the money to clear to go to the next race. I'm not quite going to that point because they're still racing. But yeah, you're right. This is a bad day. I mean, and even as I said, I mean, going back to watching that press conference, even the press conference didn't feel vibrant. I mean, I listen, revisionist history is a thing, and I'm chock full of it. But when they announced AJ last year, the vibe was completely different. There was excitement, there was smiles, there was jokes, there was happiness, there was some meaning behind that announcement that they were bringing AJ in, and the future of the organization was bright, and they were so excited for this 2023 racing season, and frankly, we all were. I think 12 months has made such a world of difference in the organization's performance because there were not just us. There were a lot of people last year predicting Kaulig to take that next leap. And, obviously, as a new organization, you're not going to go straight to a Hemric performance, but there were definitely expectations that they were going to really make the next step and they were going to compete on a regular basis and be a team that could continue to grow into the future. And now, today, this is, I think, the lowest the Cup organization has been since they bought those charters 2.5 years ago. And it's just definitely frustrating to see them not only spinning their wheels, but honestly digging in the mud. I think we're going, I don't want to say we're going backwards, but we are certainly treading water in terms of the quality of the product that's we're expecting to go forward. And, just one thing that I really want to touch on, because, we're seeing the rumors pick up steam that, we're sitting here today just kind of frustrated as all hell that Kaulig Racing is where they are. And we're hearing that Spire Motorsports, who's been the laughingstock of the Cup Series for a while, is basically usurping Kaulig in terms of their status as a racing organization. They signed Corey LaJoie to an extension. They signed Gamebridge to a massive contract for sponsorship support. That's all intents and purposes. It sounds like Carson Hocevar is locked in to the 77 car next year. And now, within the last 24 to 36 hours, we're hearing rumors and speculation that they have bought a charter from Live Fast to run a third car, potentially for Zane Smith, as a 3-car organization of Corey LaJoie, Zane Smith, and Carson Hocevar. And if you guys have watched our shows in the past, you'll both know that those 2 drivers were drivers we predicted to be in the seat of the 31 car, because they are young, talented drivers that have legit potential to be championship contenders. And now all of a sudden we've got a Spire organization potentially doing all of those things, all these predictions that honestly we were expecting Chris Rice and Kaulig to do, and yet here it is coming from a different organization that was, until about half a year ago, a rung or 2 below Kaulig Racing. And that is not the case anymore. And honestly, I'm just going to quickly touch on Legacy Motor Club switching to Toyota and signing John Hunter Nemechek. That their organization, who was on par with Kaulig even this season, is clearly now has much higher expectations and is making a huge leap in support with Toyota and, for all intents and purposes, Joe Gibbs Racing. So looking at where the Kaulig organization is now versus 2 organizations that were equal to and below us last year, it's a tough pill to swallow, man. So,
well, I'll add to that. Rick Ware Racing now has Justin Haley in a brand new, apparently expanded alliance with RFK, who, frankly, is running better than RCR is or any of their affiliates. And, we're a fucking backmarker, man. Let's be honest here. Kaulig Racing has become a backmarker until they prove otherwise. Who are they better than? On paper right now, without knowing if there's anything more, without knowing who's in the 16, with our luck, it's going to be Ty fucking Dillon. And then I will be done. You can support that all you want. I won't. I Live Fast, obviously, no duh. But help me out here, man. I'm sitting here you got.
Well, I'm going to say Stuart Haas Racing.
Yes, I can't.
Hey, listen, we're outrunning Stuart Haas Racing, not named Kevin Harvick, and Kevin Harvick's got 6 weeks left in his career. So right now, I would say Stuart Haas Racing is the only organization we're regularly outrunning at the moment.
And even those, from a business standpoint, have more sponsors attached to them than we have. It is bleak right now. I don't know if anybody has seen Star Wars who's watching this. Have you ever seen Order 66? That's what it feels like right now to me with this race team. It's not good. Not to get heavy here, but I would like to see the organization be contenders in my lifetime. And I know people are probably looking at me going, what the hell? Come on, that's a little bit much. But the truth is I'm someone who is struggling from something right now, and Ryan knows it. And I hope I am here 10 or 20 years from now. But there's no guarantee of that. So selfishly, obviously, there's some impatience on my side, which, is not the race team's problem at all. That's a me problem. But it is deflating when you sit here and go, okay, wow, this is a clear step backwards. This isn't maintaining it. I'm not taking Daniel Hemric over Justin Haley. Sorry, I haven't seen anything that even suggests that is the right move at all. I honestly feel for every Kaulig fan out there. And hey, for those that are Daniel Hemric fans and are thrilled right now, I'm fucking happy for you. Don't let us or even me rain or anybody else rain on your parade. If that's your driver and he's getting a second shot at Cup, congratulations. I'm happy for you. I hope you have realistic expectations, but I'm happy for you. That's great. For me, who really wanted this, who seemed like this team was going the right direction for a long time, in my opinion, started to go the wrong direction in Xfinity last year. It was super noticeable. And now it's been noticeable across both fronts this year and in every aspect, really. PR, financials, on-track results. I think AJ Allmendinger at times has made chicken salad out of chicken shit. And I don't really have much else to say, man, other than I hope Chris Rice learns from overhyping stuff. Really he has lined that entire team up for any backlash they get. I've already seen it. I've already seen it all over social media. People saying big L for Kaulig.
Yeah.
And you can't blame them for saying that. This is not fan generated. It's team generated. And in this case, they, in my opinion, not just fucked up a little, fucked up big. And it's going to be a long time if I ever trust this team again.
Yeah, and truthfully, and that's to the Daniel Hemric fans, again, we got plenty of them that watch this show, that follow us on Facebook, that follow us on Twitter. This is not us shitting on Daniel Hemric. Truly, I mean, can we sit here and debate Daniel Hemric versus Justin Haley? Absolutely. I think it's a fair conversation to be had. From a performance standpoint, I think they're about a wash. The thing I think that makes Justin Haley more desirable is the age. But from a competition standpoint, I think the Hemric's about the same. This isn't a diss on Daniel Hemric. I mean, obviously, we were hoping for a young, up-and-coming talent that, again, has the potential, the pedigree to do more. But Hemric is, for all intents and purposes, a solid choice. It's not his fault that this has been built up in a way that him being announced is a disappointment. It's disappointing because we were built up, we were told, we were, basically told to expect something more. And the fact that we didn't get that is where the disconnect is. I firmly believe Daniel Hemric will drive the 31 car and be fine. He's not, but fine isn't what we're looking for. Fine isn't what builds the program. Fine doesn't replace AJ Allmendinger when he retires in 1 or 2 years. You need somebody that's going to be able to elevate a program that's maybe top 15 to top 20 and elevate it to top 10s, top 5s, and competing for wins and championships. And Hemric, to his credit, does have an Xfinity championship, and he did that off consistency. Matt Kenseth built a career off consistency, but Matt Kenseth also won a ton. We haven't seen that from Daniel Hemric. So unless Daniel Hemric is able to flip a switch and take his consistency and be more aggressive and start winning races, it's just hard to see Daniel Hemric helping Kaulig take that next step. Daniel Hemric allows Kaulig to stay consistent to where they are. And that's, and if that's where we are, if that's where Kaulig is from a financial standpoint, if that's, how they need to build their program to maybe help backfill the Xfinity program with a younger talent, or maybe a Noah Gragson if they can afford to take a flyer there, then that's what it is. But that's how this should have been put forth in the first place. That's how this announcement should have been built up from Chris Rice and Kaulig Racing. And it's just hasn't. So anyway, I'm going to beat that dead horse to the ground. There's no reason to say the same thing over and over again. But honestly, at the end of the day, it's frustrating, and I'm pretty pissed about it.
Front Stretch is reporting that sponsorship for the 31 will be announced at a later date. That's code for it's not all done yet. And because if it was, they would be presenting the sponsor colors on Hemric right now, on Rice, on Matt Kaulig as they're sitting up there, which is what we were told would happen
Yeah.
And like any way you want to spin this, one way or another, what we were misled. It's that simple. Whether it was on purpose or by a catastrophic falling out on their side, we don't know. But I'll go even darker for you here for a second, man. Where's Kaulig Racing's future right now, other than the 16 car in Xfinity?
Doesn't exist.
Correct. It doesn't exist, and it makes me go, okay. So what happens if Dillon is going to the 16? Like, at some point, you gotta, like, all those people that used to put out there for months. Oh, Kaulig's going to sell a charter for over a year. Actually, Kaulig's going to lease a charter away. I never thought that was possible. If I see Dillon get announced to the 16, and that's everything in this offseason, I will be firmly of the opinion they should sell their charters and just go be a super successful Xfinity team. And maybe they can even profit off the charters, frankly. Who knows what they're going to be worth. But I'm going to, again, I could eat crow at the end of this. I really could. But other than Chandler Smith, who has 2 years left on his deal after this year, I see no future in the organization, and that is really, really troublesome.
Yeah, and listen, we should probably have another show about where we think the future of the organization is going to go. But I will say this: for me now, the expectation is how do we backfill the Xfinity program? How do we build up our prospects, right? Because that's clearly what we need to do.
We know one name that's going to be there. It's not actually going to be one of our drivers.
It won't be one of our drivers. I think most people would agree at this point that SVG will likely spend a good chunk of time in a Kaulig Xfinity car next year, which I'm good with. That's somebody that, I mean, he's going to struggle on the ovals for sure. But if the relationship with Track, and this is something we've touched on before, if the Kaulig relationship with Trackhouse grows and they create some sort of feeder program that allows Kaulig and Trackhouse to work together, maybe with a driver program outside of SVG in the future, okay, maybe there's something there. But I think we can say, all right, so we have most likely SVG in a car. We obviously have Chandler Smith in a car. What about Noah Gragson? I am now on a plan of we need to go do whatever we can to sign Noah Gragson to run the Xfinity series, because we need to have options for the Cup series in 2 years.
So you're basically out on Hocevar and Smith. No chance they end up in the Xfinity program.
They're going to Cup. They're going to Cup.
That's what I think too. Yeah.
They're going. That's.
I just wanted to clarify.
That's just what it is. Yeah. Trust me, if they were available, sure, absolutely, let's put them in an Xfinity car. But they're not. They're going to Cup. They're going, and I'll throw a $5 bill right now that says they're both ending up in a Spire car next year. So,
which is just sad. Like, I sit here and think of all the teams, and I can only definitively say one team is worse than Kaulig heading into next year, and that's it's a sad statement. Anyways, though, ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Hemric is your driver for the 31 Kaulig Racing whatever Chevrolet next season.
I'll give Circle a shout out. I'll give Circle a shout out because they're going to be part of it. But yeah, the fact that we're still lacking sponsors is also troublesome.
Yeah, it's I know one thing. I have definitely altered my approach going forward, and I'll talk about that in shows to come. I just think people should be more careful while speaking with the media. I think that not just Chris Rice. I think that just in general, there's so many things that get false marketing and are misleading, and the team, led right into that. Even hyped it up even more with the whole hand thing, and like there was no need to do any of that shit. If the Spire thing comes to be, where did Spire put out all the rumors? Where did their team president or who's managing? Is it Baldwin that's over there now managing things for them? Where are they going to the media saying we're going to have this shock the world announcement? It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So at the end of the day,
good business deals happen behind closed doors.
Yeah, well, Kaulig needs to learn a lesson, or they'll be out of business. Anyways, here's hoping for the best. Let's hope that one of the three Kaulig cars takes home a win tonight at Bristol. I mean, it's Bristol. Anything can happen, especially if there's late caution. So I'm sure there'll be carnage. Let's hope it's not just a PJ1 race like last night. And I am looking forward to watching some Bristol racing, but I got to tell you, my Kaulig fandom hit a hit or took a hit this all through this process, and we'll continue to bring you the show, but I can't promise to be the most positive of people. So Ryan may really take hold of the Kaulig, and we might focus on some other things too as time goes. We'll see how it all shakes out. But for Daniel Hemric fans, congratulations! Huge day for you, and I am really happy for you guys because as an Allmendinger fan, I think Ryan and I can both say it means a lot when your guy gets a second chance on any level, really.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
I am happy for them, but I'm rather disgusted with the way the team president has handled all this. Last thought, Ryan.
Last thought is, I know this has been pretty depressing episode from our end, but I am going to end on this. Put a smile on your face, guys. Just put a smile on your face. Tomorrow is a new day, and we'll keep moving forward.
I'll follow that up with, you don't have to put a smile on your face when it comes to what the team has done, because they shot themselves in the foot here. However, if you're one of those people that that really cling to their auto racing because maybe that's all they have, just remember that there are other things in life than auto racing, and sometimes we just gotta work a little harder to find them. So I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you when we see you. Have fun at Bristol. It's the last great Coliseum.
It is.